about my new novel. Hello everybody, today we're gonna continue talking about my new novel named Love Boy. This mostly fiction inspired true events that may happen to somebody, names, characters, places, incident, either product of imagination or being changed to protect privacy. The whole story honestly unbelievably mind-blowing, so please read and listen it on podcast and ebooks by artist TMTBellC. Portion of this novel contains third-party content, constitute fair use, works are meant to be educational, scholar in nature, criticism. There is a lot of questions to solve in this novel. If Alana Loveboy really wanted to kill her ex-husband Ted because she wasn't pleased with the divorce settlement in child custody, the whole story honestly unbelievably mind-blowing. Chapter 1. Alana Loveboy. Alana Loveboy was born in Southern California. She was growing up and attending Mountain View High School in California. Then she went to get her bachelor's degree in psychology, literature, French language, music from University of South of California, San Diego. She graduated there in 1994. Alana's friends say she was incredibly easy to talk to. Alana was known to be very smart, very funny, and she also was highly disciplined and very focused in everything. Alana wasn't really into parties. Instead, she was into her studies and maintaining her good health and lifestyle. Being active was a huge part of Alana's life, whether it was swimming, biking, riding, hiking, or running. She was always outside, doing something. When Alana was still completing her degree, she actually got a job at a high-tech company, especially, and she was hired as a lead documentation specialist and ended up taking this position full-time after her graduation. Then she ended up working for Nikon for 4 years, and then she moved on her technical writing jobs in the software industry, which is a high-paid jobs. In those positions, Alana was making very well for herself, over $100,000 a year. Chapter 2. Ted Wilhall. Alana met Ted in March of 2005 while living in San Diego. She actually met him on a dating site. He was 34 years old at the time, also loved fitness, and was working in high-tech jobs, so they really had a lot in common. Ted worked in the technical industry as well, and they really could connect a lot. Ted was born and raised in Oregon, and he ended up moving to California for work as a computer programmer in 2000. He was also very successful in his career and very focused at work and very determined. So Ted really matched Alana's energy and vibes, and she was very happy meeting a perfect match finally. Their relationship was going great. It seemed like they had it all. The friends and family say that was very happy time of their lives. So eventually, after 2 years of dating, the two of them decide to get married. Ted and Alana officially tied the knot in August 2007. They actually bought a house together in Carlsbad, California. Carlsbad is extremely affluent area with its beautiful beaches, lagoons, high-end shopping and dining, and mostly importantly, it's known for home to Legoland. So things were going great for the couple. They were happily married. They are successful. They are really building a solid future together, as it seemed. And then in 2008, Alana decided to temporarily leave her traditional job and wanted to try if she could make a career in the physical fitness industry, promoting herself on social media. Chapter Social Media Career. Alana decided to quit her office job and dedicated her time to being a full-time fitness coach, helping people to train specifically for triathlons. Around that time, she became a YouTuber. This was early in the days of YouTube, and Alana was trying to find her niche. She did cooking tutorials showing people quick and healthy meals ready to eat. and the fitness moves, travel, and daily life blog. And on those videos, Alana seems to be very sweet, harmless, and very caring. So eventually, Ted and Alana decided that they wanted to start a family, trying to have a baby. But unfortunately, this was a difficult journey for them. They actually suffered 8 miscarriages, which was so difficult to go through, especially after 8 miscarriages. And with each of loss of a child, the relationship took a bit of a hit at all. Miscarriages are not easy and they put a ton of stress on relationship anyway, and by the 8th miscarriage it was looking like their relationship was close to end. Ted and Alana were arguing a lot and things weren't just the same anymore. But they tried one more time for a baby and this time a miracle happened. Alana was able to carry a baby full term, but her pregnancy with her baby boy wasn't easy. It was considered a high risk from the beginning. Alana faced a lot of difficulties throughout, from feeling sick, feeling weak, being unable to move some days. But she did ended up delivering a healthy baby boy anyway. Chapter Baby Moon. In 2012, Alana finally gave a birth to a healthy baby boy, and even though they did experience a lot of joy after finally having a child of their own, after everything they have been through, the couple still wasn't happy with each other. By the time Ted became unemployed and he left Alana and the child, pressure of being just a sole breadwinner for the family really took a toll on Alana, and she realized that she is no longer could pursue her fitness gig full-time career on social media and YouTube. But she continued to do so on the side and pick up another senior technical writer position at the Salesforce. However, working full time and being mother wasn't easy for Alana because she suffered a lot of from chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia that can sometimes be debilitating. It's an awful condition that causes full body pain, fatigue. It really take a physical and mental toll on anyone. So that even convinced Alana that her just 2 years old son had also the same condition, fibromyalgia. So by 2014, the son was just 22 years old, and Alana and Ted hit a breaking point in their relationship. And it's been reported that one of the main contributing factors to downfall of the relationship was fighting over the child medications. Chapter Relationship Downfall. Alana had a paranoia that her son was sick, so she refused to take him to anywhere to see anyone, and she insisted on giving him large doses of medications. Ted, on the other hand, refused to believe that his child was sick, and he was very against any medication given to his son. And there was a lot of arguments between the couple, so Ted ended up filing for divorce, ending 7-year marriage. Ted moved out, but he was committed to making co-parenting situation work fairly. However, the divorce and the battle for the child custody ended up lasting just 2 years, and it was extremely bitter. It really got so bad one day when Ted got home from work, he met a police officer, sheriff, who handed him a temporary restraining order from Alana. It turns out that Alana had gone to the police station just days prior to this and told them that her husband Ted was sexually abusing her and the child. Obviously, serious accusation like that wouldn't going just to be brushed off in most of the cases. So when it came to settle the divorce, Alana was favored heavily. Child Protective Services and law enforcement ended up doing several evaluations. At the end, Ted was only granted 10 hours a week of supervised visitation with his son, and this went for a long time. Because of all the fighting, the child himself had to go through dozens of evaluations, and through all of it, his dad, Ted, maintained his innocence and he would never harm his son or anybody else. So in 2015, investigation into sexual assault claims ended up, and everyone involved agreed that there was no way Ted could have been abusive towards the child. First of all, the child showed no physical nor psychological signs of abuse, and in fact, most of the evaluators ended up saying complete opposite. that Ted actually was an incredible father, and all doctors and investigators were very impressed of how much the child loved his dad. Most evaluation even suggested that Ted should have a primary caretaker for the child, so that even changed the ruling to the joint custody agreement where Todd was given 50% split with Alana. Not only that, now Alana was going to have to pay Ted hundreds of dollars a month in child support. So eventually, when couple divorced was finalized in 2016, in the settlement agreement it was decided that Alana would keep the home in Carlsbad, but ordered to pay Ted about $120,000 within 90 days, and this really upset her. Chapter Interest in Guns. Because of divorce settlement, Alana had to sell her condo in Encinitas and obtain the money to give it to her ex-husband Ted. And conveniently, around the time Alana picks up interest in guns and shooting, she decided she wanted to learn how to shoot a gun professionally. So she found a range called the Iron Targets, which wasn't too far from her house in Carlsbad. And Iron Targets was a public indoor shooting range where Alana bought a handgun and began shooting lessons. Eventually, she met an instructor named Don. Alana ended up taking private lessons with him. Don was about 50 years old when he met her. He developed a particular interest in her because she explained that her ex-husband Ted was an abusive man. She wanted to protect herself from him and also protect the child. Alana wasn't the first woman who came to Don for private gun lessons specifically to protect themselves from abusive prior partners. Don didn't hesitate to help women. He was a natural protector. Actually, he served in the Marines for 12 years. One of the Don's prior clients came into a shooting range prior and played an audio clip that she had recorded while she was being abused by her husband. And at that point, Don remember wanting to help that woman, and client contacted Don, so he ended up coming to her house, helping her out find safe hiding places in her home, also taught her handful and self-defense moves. Luckily, Don's client husband ended up being convicted for sex crime anyway, and he couldn't harm anybody. So this the whole story was important to mention because it shows Don's character and desire to help somebody in danger. Chapter Loveboy Hitman. So when Alana Loveboy showed up at the shooting range where Don worked, she told Don about her ex-husband Ted being abusive towards her, and Don felt like Alana was just another battered woman in danger who needed help. Don and Alana grew pretty close and pretty fast, so even Don's wife wasn't happy about it. She noticed that they were texting a lot. She felt like it was becoming very inappropriate, even though Don kept trying to tell his wife that it was another woman who just needed his help to be safe from her abusive ex-partner, and he just gave her tips and there was nothing else involved. However, Don's wife felt like Alana was texting her husband way more often and they needed, and it was super inappropriate. So all that ended up leading issues to Don's marriage as well, and the two of them had a son too. So that made Don even more concerned about Alana and her son. So even though Ted had been awarded 50% custody with Alana, she still didn't want to accept that, and she was trying to fight for full custody in courts. And throughout all that, the court's hearing, Alana maintained that Ted was still sexually abusive, even though several evaluations proved that he was not. Ted knew that Alana was trying everything she could just to keep him from his son, and brings up the point when Ted gets a strange phone call during a night. It came about 10:30 p.m. That night, Ted answered the phone, and he did there, and there was a very strange, deep voice on the other hand, who told Ted that it was a private investigator who had some information regarding the custody of the child, in particular some documents that Ted need to look over. And then Ted asked to see the documents. The investigator said that he should meet him in a private place in person. To be continued. Thank you for listening.